We've talked at length about this game's immediate predecessor, and that checks out. Sly 3 owes a tremendous amount of its identity to Sly 2, but I've only mentioned the original game a few times in passing. For all the foundation Sly 1 laid down for this series, it's odd to look back at what is very nearly a completely different genre. The Crash Bandicoot-style linear levels are one thing, but it's the simplistic story that really feels like it got left behind. Its easily digestible revenge/coming-of-age drama doesn't get the wheels in my head turning the same way, but I think it's only fair to reminisce about the moments that really did shine against the rough. Like Bentley's coming out of his shell arc, progressing from the safe in the van tutorial giver to the hero of Sly's darkest hour feels great in a vacuum, and even better seeing how far he's come since. Then there's pretty much everything about Clockwork, from his dramatic reveal literally lurking in the shadows of Sly's past, to the way his immortal knowledge plays foil to the traditions of the Thievius Raccoonus, and the almost philosophical discussions Sly had with each member of the Fiendish Five before their boss fights.
Yeah, well, you give me the creeps too, lady. Cooking up an army of ghosts isn't a very neighborly pastime.
Yeah, it's a bit Saturday morning cartoon, but Sly's cockiness was a really strong reflection of his immaturity back then. And despite his criminal occupation, watching him match his ideals against these baddies was just about the best thematic content the game offered.
Why should you care if I bury a few worthless village in snow? You are a thief, just like me.
No, that's only half right. I am a thief from a long line of master thieves, while you're just a frustrated firework artist turned homicidal pyromaniac.
Wow, I bet you brought all that up for absolutely no reason.
Nope, none at all. Next cutscene, please. These condensation rings on the blueprints are a cute touch, but Jesus Christ, how wide was the cup that made them?
After a careful analysis of Dr. M's fortress, Bentley came to the difficult conclusion that his demolition skills just weren't gonna be enough.
Oh, this sort of thing is pure dopamine to me. An adorable little snapshot to effortlessly establish the evolving group dynamics. Penelope especially. I love how she's not at all uncomfortable or unhappy, far from it, look at her frickin' legs dangle. But she's positioned on the fringes, not yet having established herself as a core member of the group, though she is closest to Sly himself. Also, Sly's got this Peter Pan shadow thing going on, but if he's not worried, then neither am I. A bunch more text to read here, mostly simple stuff, but I do like the "don't let Murray touch this."
If we wanted to get inside the Cooper vault, we'd have to recruit a full-time demolition specialist. However, Bentley's proposed candidate was a shock. My old enemy, the Panda King.
Now this is serious. The opening scenes of missions past have had a variety of tones, from confident to mysterious to desperate, but none have ever felt quite like this.
As a member of the original Fiendish Five, he had a part in taking out my dad and stealing pages from the Thievius Raccoonus.
The Panda King isn't our first recurring villain, he's not even the first of those responsible for the same crimes against Sly's family, and yet he's treated immediately with a lot more weight. Mugshot, for all his airs, was treated as a joke, a washed-up thug barely worth our attention, and we simply swept him out of our way so he wouldn't inconvenience us on the road to our real goal. The extra gravitas the Panda King gets comes as a factor of two things, I think. One, he was never a joke. Apart from Clockwork, he was easily the most verifiable threat in the game. We even got to watch powerlessly as he buried an entire village in an avalanche just for refusing to meet his demands. And two, it is heavily implied that this is the Panda King's arm in this silhouette, and that Sly has every reason to blame him especially for his father's death.
Eventually, I caught up with him, and I claimed back what he had stolen.
This redrawing of a frame from one of the original cutscenes in the new art style is so cool. Not just as a callback, but as an emblematic illustration of how far the art style has come. How much more polished and confident. Though the background appears to be the exact same asset just under a sepia filter.
There was no way I was gonna let that monster on my team, but Bentley was firm. He discovered the Panda King had left his life of crime, and was now a monk, living the life of quiet meditation high up in the mountains.
The Panda King's new design is another pop culture parody, this time Master Pai Mei from Kill Bill.
I wasn't at all convinced, but there was no denying that he had the skills we needed if we were to succeed.
This frame defies me. There's so much that's the same as their last plane ride that every difference is sending me. You're telling me Sly picked out the exact same gloves and cuffs but with black studs instead of gold this time? And while he's reading the exact same magazine, Murray went from Little Timmy to Hulk Hogan. Bentley's dad energy is off the charts, and Guru, that fit, and Penelope, my dear, if you could pull that off, why did you even need a catfish photo on ThiefNet? I will do my best to run any Chinese we encounter this chapter through a translator, but go easy on me if you actually know the language. I know Chinese is extremely contextual and nuanced, I'm just working with what I got. For instance, this literally translates to Chinese aviation, but in context probably translates to Chinese Airlines. Please don't hurt me. Heck of a departure from the formula, our introduction to China drops us into this small area not unlike a tutorial level. It's not our hub, but it makes quite the impression. I'm especially fond of this swirl pattern in the ice. I love when basically anything does that to indicate we're in the east. It's so stylish.
Stay sharp, team. For all we know, the Panda King's just as dangerous as ever.
How can you say that? Just look at him! Have you ever seen someone more at peace with the world?
I'll admit, he does look kinda zenned out.
Mr. King, Honorable Panda King, we humbly wish to speak with you.
I guess he doesn't want to talk. Sorry, Bentley. Let's go.
Be realistic, Sly. He's clearly in a deep meditative trance.
As we venture into this episode, I want you to keep an eye out for a few recurrences. Pay attention to the dynamic of Bentley and Sly's authority, or even their prominence within the expanded group. It already started with how that first cutscene ended. If you didn't know who these characters were, who would you assume was the leader here?
Van! I miss the van. We never had to walk anywhere back then.
Okay. Let's just get this over with.
This area functions a bit like a miniature heist, which calls upon the talents of every member of the group. I think it's very telling that Penelope's introduction is met with this sort of ceremony, whereas the guru just kind of was. But the effect this has on most players is pretty universal. This is where you really start to feel the size of the group. More voices to be heard, more skills to showcase, and a complex network of relationships, most of which inevitably don't get much screen time.
Seriously, you guys want to see my blisters?
No way. Is he serious? No, seriously, was he for real about the blisters? Cause, I don't know, yeesh.
It's really fun to just take advantage of this delightful little playground they've laid out for us, in conjunction with the really excellent design embellishments like the unique patterns on each of these pillars, or the fact that you can see the remains of what was the path up to the shrine dangling from the cliff. This was one of my most replayed missions as a kid. This game's remaining ball form missions are numbered. Not that I'm surprised, none of them have really pushed the boat out much further than the first, but I do want to point out this odd physics glitch the ball form causes. After enabling it, until Murray's state is reloaded, the Murray can't go down slopes correctly. Best I can figure, this is because Murray's fall speed is reduced in the ball form, and it seems it doesn't revert back when he starts walking again. Oh man, check out this frozen Zen pond area. Bro's got it going on. Alright, those banners over there say Invincible, which is made with the characters for No and Opponent, which may indicate a few double meanings. This board spells out Sky King Valley, which I'm assuming is inspired by a Hall of Heavenly Kings, a major component of Buddhist temples, which clues us in to what kind of monk the Panda King has become.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but Sly can jump onto small points. Those bamboo shoots would be an ideal means of ascent if they weren't spaced so far apart.
Hold on. Let me see if I can figure it out for myself.
What's made apparent pretty much immediately is that there are now two brains of the operation, and I love that not only is Penelope eager to test her intellect against Bentley's, but he doesn't take it as a slight.
Split each shoot down the middle, thereby doubling the points of ascension. However, the ice down there appears too thin to walk on, so there's no way to do it by hand. So, I'll need to use my lightweight remote control car to split the trees for us.
Perfect! That's it, exactly!
Great! Anything for Sly. I love to see him pull off those athletic moves.
This RC car is among the most infamous additions to our arsenal. It's not going to be clear why in this simple little runaround. In fact, it's pretty fun to goof off with. There is an invisible wall around the pond, but with the right angle, you can still take out the guards on the shore, which is always fun.
Yeah! There you go, Sly. Hope it's everything you could have wished for.
Thanks. It looks great.
My pleasure. Really. Anytime.
Sly, isn't it time you climbed up there and joined Murray?
Yeah, sure.
This bouncy thing's also got some Chinese on it. Who wants to bet it says bouncy? I want to bet it says bouncy. Nope, it says jump. I was close. It's not terribly common for your party members to just be hanging out on the field with you like this, and for obvious reasons, they've been made invulnerable to just about every attack you can do. But they overlooked one or two things. For some reason, Penelope specifically is susceptible to your aerial attack, and everyone can be taken down with the level 1 jump attack. Thanks to Christopher Bannock for sharing this amusing oversight with me. It got me wondering if it worked in any other instances where your allies are running around with you, but it seems like this is the only mission where it's the case.
Whack the supports up on those pinwheels!
Really?
Pinwheel destabilization is the cornerstone of this plan!
Jump into my hands and I'll throw you up there.
I'm almost surprised they retook this line when they could have just reused this one.
Jump into my arms. I'll toss you up there.
Now that the pinwheels are unstable, I just need to light them up with my darts.
Once again, Bentley's absurdly overpowered quadruple jump sort of renders his own plan obsolete, and we can do some very silly things with only a bit of creativity. Where's your arm, dude? I do like anytime the game challenges your precision with these darts, but what if I missed? In front of the new team member? That'd just be embarrassing. The Guru's up last. Never mind that literally everyone else could make use of those fireworks if they wanted. Guru once again has 3 new transformations in the new region. Fireworks, some sticks reused from Australia, and probably the best one in the game, a bonsai, which is just a shrunken model of one of the trees around here. These tiger flashlight guards have a great design. I like their lanterns, I like that their attack is a throwing spear that they quite literally pull out of their ass. Though the thin ice around here is instant death for the whole crew, there's an interesting oversight involved. Guards will die instantly if they touch the central pond, but the ice on the exterior leaves them quite unharmed. Dang, Bentley, you knew it was gonna do that?
I agree. He's in a super meditative state.
So let's just shout in his ear.
Now, to break him out of this trance, we'll need to delve into his mind.
A hacksaw then?
No, it'll require channeling. Sly, sit beside the Panda King. The Guru will bridge your minds.
I see you carry the cane of the notorious Cooper Thief clan. Have you come here for revenge? To steal back the Thievius Raccoonus?
Whoa, this is just like the time I beat the stuffing out of you.
Why should you care if I bury a few worthless villagers in the snow? You are a thief, just like me.
Yeah, are you even listening to what I'm saying?
Insolent child, you shall pay dearly for your disrespect. Still, to honor your Cooper ancestry, I will send you to your doom with the beauty of my new firework technique. Flame Fu.
Uh-oh.
What craftsmanship. What complete and utter panache. This is the boss fight against the Panda King. Every detail meticulously reset. His words, his attacks, the only difference is this bow animation he does when we take a hit. It's significantly shortened on account of the fact we no longer die in one shot. This was already the easiest boss in the original game, trivialized now both by Sly's and our bolstered experience. But the difficulty hardly matters in the face of what this does for the story.
Snap out of it. This is all in your head.
My mind is clear, focused on your destruction.
I'm sure we've all been there, imagining a moment of great regret in your head, visualizing what you could have done differently, what you should have said.
You know how this'll end. I've already beat you once, I can do it again.
I have never known defeat. I am unbeatable.
It is a narrative privilege, not just to see this, but to play it out from the perspective of his nemesis. To feel the difference, to experience firsthand how much we've grown while our enemy reveled in the past. This is simply one of the coolest moments in Sucker Punch's repertoire, exemplifying the strength of the medium to tell stories in ways the written word or moving picture just can't match.
You're just a frustrated firework artist turned homicidal pyromaniac.
Am I? Am I? Let us find out.
A few more details before we psych this guy out. The Panda King retains his original voice actor in this game, Kevin Blackton, who also voiced Mugshot and the original Clockwork. And Raleigh, my god. Sorry to see you go, man. You were clearly far more talented than your career would have led most to believe. But for the longest time, I was sure he was recast in this game. Not because he sounds that different, but these lines were all tweaked slightly.
Why should you care if I bury a few worthless villagers in the snow? Why should you care if I bury a few worthless village in snow?
My guess is this was done for optics. Not that Sucker Punch has shown themselves to be above stereotypes, but I can't think of a better reason. A really cool detail to keep in mind as we get to know the Panda King in a new light is the first thing we see when we enter his mind. It's just a close-up of the lamp, but without knowing that, this looks like a fracture. A fractured psyche, you see. Everyone here just gained like 10 IQ points.
We both know why you're here. You're fixated on the moment of your greatest defeat. I beat you, and forever after you've wondered how it all fell apart.
I hate you, Sly Cooper. You've ruined me. Ruined the Panda King.
And I've hated you, but that doesn't make any of this real. Years have passed, and we've both changed. Come out of this trance. Let's meet each other as we are today, and let go of who we were when this fight occurred.
You are correct. Forgive me. My mind is not always my own.
The Panda King wasn't any more excited about the notion of him joining the gang than I was. If it weren't for the guru, who for some reason really hit it off with the old guy, the whole deal would have been a bust.
The guru has now done one thing crucial to our success. I'm keeping count.
We could see the anger in the Panda King's eyes as he recounted how he lost a member of his own family. A daughter who was abducted by a powerful general from the northern mountains.
As I was writing my script, I was about to meme on the fact that the Panda King is the only character we've met in the entire trilogy to have canonically reproduced. Remember, Neela being Rajan's daughter is never confirmed in the final release, so haha, peak performance, etc. But the more I thought about it, the more the idea of what children represent narratively wormed its way into my mind. God, what is happening to me? Essentially, a child is the embodiment of the future, potential, everything that could be, provided you don't muck it up. Something a professional arsonist and global crime lord has got to be keenly aware of.
She was to be the bride in a forced marriage to this unscrupulous ruler, and Panda King was exiled.
There are a lot of gaps between this game and the first that we are left to fill in for ourselves. It's been somewhere upwards of 2 years. No doubt the Panda King's sentence was significantly longer than that, but he was one of the few we didn't even see incarcerated in Heathrow Prison in the comics, so it's a safe bet he escaped confinement at some point. A unit like him who can cast explosions with his fists probably wouldn't have had a problem with that. Afterwards, he reflects on all the damage he caused, reconnects with his daughter, hangs up his old mantle, and pursues a life of peace.
We agreed to help him recover his lost daughter in exchange for his skills in the Cooper Vault job. I still wasn't convinced this was a good idea, but a deal's a deal.
Welcome, everyone and everything, to a cold alliance. Sucker Punch really likes to do this thing where after the most intense or exciting chapter, we follow up with a literal cooldown in a locale cloaked in snow. China, in this case, feels especially somber. It should be intense, an old enemy at our back and a new one at our front, and yet there is a deep, melancholy feeling running underneath the whole thing. One that the Panda King sits at the center of. In keeping with our lack of tradition, we launch straight into a chalk talk before even stepping foot into the new hub. This plan's pretty simple. Jing King will be forced to marry General Cao in a few days' time, so we need to gather information fast, and by as many means as possible. We'll pose as prospective wedding planners, do some good old-fashioned B&E, and monitor things remotely. There's one crucial bit of info I'm gonna let Bentley share though.
General Cao, a real peach, this guy. During surveillance, I actually witnessed him kick a puppy. Twice!
That's effectively deflated the tone we were building, well done there. It's okay, I needed a good opportunity to steal the narrative weight from that sequence anyway. This can happen on the PS3 version.
Snap out of it. This is all in your head.
What head? Cold Alliance is easily the level I am least familiar with on a basis of layout. It's the only one in either Sly 2 or 3 which doesn't have what I'd consider a recon mission, instead having that interlude in the valley, and as such, there are entire swaths of this little city I have never explored on my own time. For instance, this pagoda I've been climbing has a secret room inside which serves no purpose. Or at least, it didn't. Now, on the most modern releases of this game, getting in here as Murray nets you a trophy, but in any case, it smacks of unused or cut content. The layout's not terribly dissimilar to the Contessa's prison, with a central compound standing out from the rest of the encircling level. And I believe, as a bid to curry favor with me specifically, these rails on the palace bridges are slippery, and this impressive Sao statue is covered in all kinds of blue sparkles. I think our safe house this level actually belongs to the Panda King, as very much unlike his meditation garden, this is the only thing with his iconography on it in the whole level. It almost goes without saying at this point, but that's also just great environmental storytelling, expressing the general's level of control here. Other points of note are the distant village across the water, and loads more Chinese for me to translate. These red banners say King's Son, which means prince, and then all along the southern edge of the map in this sort of rock garden area, you'll find 3 stone etchings with loads of Chinese characters. They actually kind of defy translation, since they're not words, they're names. Names that aren't Chinese really don't translate very well, so they get spelled out more or less phonetically. In addition to that, I'm pretty sure they were also just making up symbols to add to these to confuse things further, but we got there in the end. These are all members of Sucker Punch, and since that's actually a pretty short list of names, I can be reasonably certain of all my translations. The only exception is this one. I could only get one clean character here, so I have to guess this is either Augie Pagan or Adam Smith. You also get these spire points, which say dragon. It's funny, you'd think we'd have a lot more rooster imagery around here, but it's mostly dragon. Last Chinese I'll hit about town are the coins. I haven't mentioned it in this game yet, but it is a staple of the series for every level to have their own unique coin designs. Usually the icon of the villain, but these ones all say add oil, which is how the Chinese say come on, come on. This could be a reference to something I'm not aware of, but it's cute even if it's not. Before we choose a mission, we already have a Master Thief challenge unlocked after striking a deal with the Panda King. Big Air in China is a real oddball, sending us bouncing around the map. It's a little tricky, the terrain here is by and large a bit more treacherous than Venice, but it just makes me laugh that the first mission available in this hub is a totally contextless romp. Okay, for now, let's go meet the General.
This is it, General Sao's palace. If we're gonna get at the Panda King's daughter, we'll need an inside track on the wedding.
No, you can't come out yet, my blossom.
But please, my father will be so worried. Just let me tell him I'm all right. I beg of you, sir, let me out of this prison. Is this the way you woo your wife? You have shown me nothing but cruelty. I'm so unhappy.
Got some Kakejiku on the walls in here. I'm pretty sure the red ink on these is usually a signature, but in this case, it seems to be part of the title of the art. In full, Noble Bamboo Garden, which may even be a hint of foreshadowing. I don't know, is foreshadowing still foreshadowing if 99% of the audience can't decipher it? Over the entrance to the castle's audience chamber, we also have this sign. The second word is either room or hall, but the first is Luán. Far as I can tell, that exclusively refers to a mythical bird in Chinese folklore. I'm a bit mystified as to what it has to do with Sao. Man, if only I knew someone who has done extensive research into this sort of thing.
Thankfully, you do have someone. See, within East Asian folklore, the Luán is an incredibly important bird, as it represented omens of peace during times of war. It's said that during the Warring States period of the Zhao dynasty, the Luán was presented to King Zheng of Zhao as a tribute of peace after his conquest of the northern tribes of China. What's fitting with the Luán being mentioned here in the Kunlun Mountains is that this region is believed to be home to the Queen Mother of the West, a motherly goddess who's thought to be the progenitor of Taoism, as she represented peace and prosperity for Western China and to many of her worshippers. For those who venerated the Queen Mother in her own home here in the Kunlun Mountains, it's believed that they bore witness to the Luán flying over them as a sign of the goddess's presence and the prosperity that she would soon be granting them. So then why would General Sao, a warlord, have a bird of peace associated with his palace? Well, given the fact that he mentions that this has been his family's home for generations, it's more than likely that his family actually ties back to that Zhao dynasty and the Warring States period. Perhaps even in Sly's universe, his ancestor was that king who received the Luán after conquering the region. Fun parallels to think about. But one last association I found intriguing was that the Luán was said to have the colors of the evening sky. 5 colors, I'll add, that Cao is portrayed with. That being orange, gold, white, purple, and black, possibly furthering his connection to the Luán with his design as he views his conquest and marriage to Jing King as bringing peace and prosperity to all of China.
We are 1,000 miles out from using the word le to make everything French. Good golly. You know what? I think maybe Luán is meant to be General Cao's first name. Still more, the symbol on the back wall is obviously more of a royal crest than a word or phrase, and it doesn't seem to translate to anything, but these Kakejiku are different. They say, "Awaken with you, lotus flower." We can also see a silhouette of Jing King in her jail cell, and finally a plate of oranges on this shrine back here, which represent wealth and good fortune in Chinese culture. What happened? Sucker Punch's attention to detail has always been admirable, but why? This is on another level.
Greetings, Honorable General Cao. I have heard of your impending marriage and have respectfully come before you to offer my services as wedding coordinator.
General Cao's name and design are both fantastic. He's a chicken, so it's a play on General So, and he's incredibly, insufferably arrogant, exemplified as a cocky rooster.
Given my genius, I am of course completely capable of organizing the event. However, I might be interested in employing a photographer. A day of such momentous import should be captured for future generations to marvel at.
His character is a bit more generic, lacking a certain presence on screen. You kinda get the impression he's all crow and no peck.
You'd better not be wasting my time, wedding planner. I get very, very uncharitable when people waste my time.
Sly has a new disguise to make use of. It's mechanically identical to our Venice disguise, though somehow even more dapper. My God, Sly can strut.
Sun, moon, day, night.
Yes, sir. My mistake.
It's kind of odd that the password system is still in place. There's no context given for why the guards expect this prospective wedding photographer to know them. Guess we're just lucky? Oh, also, Bentley just thinks all monkeys are ugly.
That guy's not going to cut it. Head to the waypoints. I've marked where you can find some good-looking guards.
In fact, this mission has the most savage failure screen these games have ever pulled out. If you take out a pig or tiger, monkeys are ugly and disposable. Well, I like the monkeys, thank you very much. They've been given the exact same voice lines as the monkeys from India, so knocking them off a cliff makes me feel nice and nostalgic. They also got this crazy handstand kick attack, and that's just fun. Though the voice actor for these password interactions is the same as in Venice, these voice lines are all completely new.
Could you repeat the question?
Incorrect.
By the way, I don't know who did the voices, this role goes uncredited, but 10 to 1 it's either Scully or Blackton. And finally, a subtle shift in difficulty. Passwords in Venice never asked for more than 2 different buttons, but now they can ask for all 4.
Listen up, meatheads. General Cao wants some pictures of his staff, so big smiles all around, or else.
Great shot, but you'll need a few more before talking with General Cao.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I must have accidentally used the camera that literally captures things. Maybe that's why it's the size of a briefcase. Look at the way he sets it down when he's holding a ledge. They didn't have to do that. These pig guards are some of the coolest in the series. They use just like outright magic to fight. It's amazing. These dragon heads are easy to dodge, but if you don't, they electrify you and cover your screen and this. It doesn't seem to be intended to do anything but distract you, but it certainly does that. Our last pair get photobombed by this nearby monkey, and I swear, despite Bentley's specific instructions, it never even occurred to me you could just kill him. I always waited for him to be far enough away.
Really, Sly, that's some lovely photography. Show those shots to the General. I'm sure he'll be impressed.
A fine evening to you, officer. Now that we have 2 disguises, we can pull off a supremely entertaining glitch in areas where we're required to remain in costume. Open the gadget menu and equip the other disguise to the same button, and you'll instantly fail the mission. Then, press that button again, and you'll have effectively tricked the game into thinking you just changed into the right outfit. Now you can wreak absolute havoc directly in front of Cao. There's plenty in here Sly wouldn't typically be able to circle press on, which I always get a kick out of. And I quite like the particle effects you get for destroying a paper lantern. Cao himself cannot be attacked though. Only other place we can play around with this is the beginning of the Venice operation. The most interesting thing here is that this unique fountain was given a unique broken state you'd never see without using this glitch. We can also pick a fight with Octavio, but due to his gimmick of being invincible without his feet in some tar, we can't actually do any damage to him. Also, you can use this new disguise to pull this off.
Hey, what's the temple password?
Moon.
Yes, sir. My mistake.
Sal's shield says Prince on it, just like the banners outside, and I adore the utter impatience in his animations here. The way he keeps shifting his eyes to you like, have you taken it yet?
Here, check out this pose. Impressive, I know.
Greetings, General Sao. As you have no doubt guessed, I'm the world-class photographer, hoping to play a humble role in your upcoming magnificent wedding.
Let me see a sample of your work. I have a keen eye, a great sense of artistic value. I can tell at a glance if you're world-class.
But of course, Your Excellency.
You have a strong sense of, compositional regularity and, force perspectivism. These are adequate.
This is a great line. Not only does it make it pretty clear he doesn't actually have a clue what he's talking about, he's just slinging lingo and hoping it'll land, but I'm convinced it's also a developer in-joke. Forced perspective is something Sucker Punch uses liberally in this game, and Sao himself is probably the easiest example to demonstrate. No doubt to keep the cel-shaded borders from muddying the models at long distance, the further away most characters are from the camera, the larger their models are. You can watch Sao visibly shrink as we get closer.
I'm sure it will be a wedding none of us will ever forget.
We've got some power-ups to buy before our next mission. Sly's got an upgraded jump attack, which is probably my favorite of all his charges, able to one-shot even guards which are resistant to electricity. The tigers, like the guard dogs, are completely immune to electricity though, so for them there's no substitute for the good old knockout dive takedown. Bentley needs the grapple cam before we can take on another job, and he also gets the size destabilizer. Enemies shrunken with a hit from this become much more manageable, dealing significantly less damage and dying in just one hit, no matter what you hit him with. This is the case for any guard. Any guard. Karma not so large anymore, huh? This essentially gives Bentley an option for close quarters combat, something to do if your cover's blown and you can't run away. But like so many things, it's more entertaining than outright effective. As long as we're putting the Inspector through the ringer, her invincibility when not shrunken enables us to pull off something extremely amusing. As Bentley, we can slip a bomb into her pocket, and since she doesn't die, we can see the no longer live explosive still chillin' in the pouch. It seems Bentley's bombs aren't magnetic, or at least less magnetic than that Belgian handkerchief. I guess the gold lace was pure gold or something, and we can't latch on. However, if we head back to the safe house and tag out with Sly, he is fully capable of getting the bomb back. Oddly enough, this, I guess it's a glitch, only works in Venice. It doesn't really feel like a glitch though, it's closer to what I'd call emergent gameplay. This level feels delightfully vertical. Even though it doesn't quite look it, I like that the safe house is basically the lowest point on the map, so getting anywhere is a bit of a hike.
Okay, General Sal's center of business is protected with a special double padlock.
That shouldn't be a problem. Sly's figured out he can just break these now, right? No, now we gotta pull off this elaborate coordinated pickpocket between both Sly and Bentley because the keys can be destroyed by one guard if the other knows it's missing? Yeah, okay. Jokes aside, this is actually super interesting. These padlocks on the control panel in Venice are the gateway to a cavernous rabbit hole of Sly 3 alpha content. To begin with, the game's hazard room feels completely ham-fisted and overly video gamey in the face of the extremely organic tutorial that was the Paris level in Sly 2, where every mission lent valuable context to the lessons they were meant to teach you. Well, imagine my surprise when I went digging through Sly 3's developmental versions and found that Venice was originally designed to fill that very same role. Here's a mission that taught you how to climb and wayfind. Here's one that taught you how to use Bentley's bombs and sleep darts. Hey, I recognize this sprint tutorial. I love being right. And, most pressingly, here's one for pickpocketing.
We are going to pickpocket the keys to the control box, then override the controls to spin the wheel real fast.
I'm kind of in love with these text-to-speech interactions they used in the alpha, especially this one.
Haha. I found you, and now I am going to chase you.
And I will try to get away.
Hey, I mean, it's still better than... There's a ton of cut stuff throughout the alpha, but one of the most peculiar is in that same pickpocketing mission. They were gonna incorporate this, like, baseball minigame more than once? Okay, and then here's the weirdest part. In a build that is nearly finished, the lock on the Ferris wheel was given a different design. Why did they change it back? All that does is make me question why I can't just hit them now. You flock of silly geese.
The keys are designed with a self-destruct feature, and the guards carrying them are in constant radio contact.
This mission's actually got a lot of what I guess you could call plot holes. Like, the team has so many different toys to play with now, we could go about this in a dozen different ways. Bentley could just put this guy to sleep and alleviate the need for synchronization entirely. Or Murray could get one in an airplane hold while one of us makes the pull. The rigidity really makes me want to get creative.
Hey, what's the temple password?
Whoa, whoa! What happened to my health bar? I think I just accidentally discovered an invincibility glitch. I can't seem to die.
Nice work. With this second key in my grapple cam, I'm all set up for the inner office.
Sure you won't need my help on the inside?
I'm afraid this is a problem only technology can solve.
Right. Well, have fun with your, technology.
What do you guys think is going through Sly's head here? That's not rhetorical, I genuinely want you guys to think about it.
You weren't kidding about the security in this place. Hope your grapple cam can lure a guard onto that pressure plate, otherwise you're never getting into that upper level.
Outside the gate behind us, the level has remained modeled with a lot of detail. None of its collision is mapped, which is actually kind of surprising, but this bouncy cloth is still kind of functional. Time to introduce a new playable character. What? The Panda King? No. The Grapple Cam. This little honey can be remote controlled by Bentley to zip around with its grapple claw, an augment that can also be quite destructive. It can even pick up coins and health packs. It can self-destruct or just beat the snot out of guards with its claw. And it's too small for them to fight back. Even if they're lucky enough to land a hit, it has enough HP to take sustained turret fire for ages. And perhaps best of all,
Yo mama!
man, Bentley gets all the toys. One of the funniest things you can do with this is latch onto a spotlight and make it go absolutely haywire.
Don't be scared, little computer. This won't hurt a bit.
This hacking sequence focuses on these nutty black hole enemies, the last room challenging you to fight two at once, though they'll kinda take each other out if you let them.
Aha! The database is wide open. I'm a capital G genius.
Murray's up next with Fists of Flame and Temporal Lock to add to his repertoire. Fists of Flame is one of his old standbys from 2, especially useful in this game as a means of taking out flashlight guards. Temporal Lock is funny though. It's curious that in each of the 3 games, a different member of the team has gotten exclusive access to this move. Here it's recontextualized as a Dreamtime technique, which is cool, but I will say I kinda preferred it on Bentley. It does work on all hostiles, including Carmelita and Octavio, which will never stop entertaining me. Wait a minute, is that? It is! What? During the Octavio boss fight, you can see Carmelita patrolling around in her copter. That's sweet. How have I never caught that before now?
The mysterious signal I picked up was somewhere on the water's surface.
I'm not seeing anything.
Keep scanning. These readings are clear.
Great snakes on a stick! I don't believe it!
What? You found the signal?
It's the team van!
This mission does an awful lot with very little. The team van was the cornerstone of the Cooper gang for the majority of the first 2 games. It represented everything about their road trip lifestyle. The quick getaways, the next caper, even complexities like Bentley's arc surrounding Jailbreak, as his presence behind the wheel for the first time went from a feeling of dread to a cause for celebration. Before Murray was the Murray and he was the team burden, he was still an asset to the gang when driving his van, which is why we were absolutely gutted when we lost it in the final act of our previous adventure. As for how it got here...
Last time I saw it, it was floating away on a block of ice in Canada! And now it's here!
Highly probable given ocean currents.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe. It's a lot less probable it somehow drifted all the way upriver to the Kunlun Mountains, but it's why it's here that has an impact.
I gotta go get it! Don't worry, baby! Mama's coming!
Don't even think about swimming, Murray! That water's freezing! You wouldn't last a minute.
But my baby!
The bigger the gang gets, the less cohesive it feels. This is something Sucker Punch themselves identified as a compelling aspect of heist plots like this.
You know, when you get a big group of people together, maybe not everybody's going to get along, there may be a little bit of tension, so it's going to be just a ton of back and forth of, you know, differences of opinions, because they're all the best at what they do. So you're gonna get a little bit of button heads.
Especially now that Sly and the Panda King are completely uneasy with each other, with only a bargain to hold things together, what we need is something to catalyze, if I may, jumpstart the new dynamic.
Oh, my sweet van! How I've missed you! Don't worry, I'll break you out of your icy prison!
Murray's relationship with his van, the nostalgia, the familial nature of it, is so endearing. Penelope plays the pragmatist. As the most mechanically minded, she's the least sentimental about this sort of thing. She can tell he cares for it, but at the end of the day, it's just a van, and she could probably build him a better one if need be.
I will not! I will never leave her behind again!
But for the Panda King...
Words do tear at a father's heart. Would that I had such passion when they came from my little Jing King. Fear not, brave hippo. I will destroy the spike blocking your path.
And this is a real treat, the bright reflection of our fight with him in that opening number. It looks very similar to the turret missions of old, where we had to cover for a Murray that couldn't fight back, but we use this juxtaposition to show how incredibly far he's come, all while earning the respect of our most reticent ally yet. We see through the Panda King's eyes the exact perspective Sly once shared, only now, Murray is in a whole new light.
Well done, hippo. You've lit the flames in my soul. I feel awake for the first time in years.
No, thank you, Panda King. You can ride in my van anytime. You got shotgun for like a month.
A great honor. I accept.
And with that, a bond is forged, the most crucial link of common ground for the rest of the team to rally behind. And we got the van back. What a mission. Now I have to go back and talk details. This Penelope section is extremely odd. I'm pretty sure these Tiger's projectiles are only here to imply tension, as they have spectacularly bad aim. So you're free to ignore the Tigers, and the only thing you have to worry about are these rockets, which spawn independently of the guards. If you do go after these big cats though, Penelope has a completely unique set of dialogue for taking them out from the hangar defense mission.
Fly away, be free. Shouldn't have come to work today, pal.
These lines are all exclusive to this section, as she remains silent in the next stretch to make way for Murray.
Ow! You might stop my body, but my spirit's on fire!
Since you have free reign of the entire level, you can also force the chopper above its designated altitude by jimmying your way up the slopes. This serves no purpose, though it is interesting. I found that the cooldown on the thruster gets reset upon the cable hitting the ground, so you can basically boost as fast as you can mash up here. Another funny thing is that for the purpose of the code, this helicopter counts as Murray, and the yank counts as him throwing a guard. So if you have the Juggernaut throw gadget by this point, the enemies will get a pink shockwave when landing. Curious thing about Penelope, you never get to just run around on foot as her. Anytime you're ostensibly playing as her, you're just controlling one of her gizmos. However, she does have a full-blown rig that you can take control of through hacking. She has no voice lines of her own, no binocucom, no visible health meter, and no means of attack, but other than that, she is a fully fledged playable character. She has unique animations for almost everything, and they are all utterly adorable. From this little motion she does with her foot when she presses a button, which have a unique holographic icon over them to boot, to this pose she does over a bottomless pit, even her death animation. There's one more thing she can do, which is pretty cool, but it's a bit of a spoiler, so I'll put a pin in it. This all indicates pretty clearly to me she was intended to be controllable in some missions much like Guru, but that was cut. I swear I didn't mean for this to be the cut content episode, but that's certainly how it worked out. I'm not done with that mission yet. This battlement that the Panda King takes up position in is always visible on the map, but kinda blends in. It's all collision mapped if you get up there, but this ain't no Predator Awakes turret. No one mans this thing but the big guy. Last thing to do with that mission is the Master Thief Challenge Sharpshooter. At first glance, it seems pretty standard for these optional trials. Murray's got half health, the enemies spawn a bit faster, no big deal, right? But, this is genuinely the toughest thing in this game so far. That reduced HP bar makes a world of difference, especially when the enemies start pouring out from two directions at once. This took me a few tries. I did eventually figure out that since the game caps the number of guards at 5, you want to get as many as possible stuck behind the van so to ideally only have to worry about 1 or 2 at a time. A degree of strategy I was not expecting there to be any call to employ. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the difficulty is also an evocative parallel of the first game, given this tidbit of developer commentary hidden in the code.
So probably the biggest challenge, I think, on this level was just getting the controls right. Fully manual.
We had fully manual, which was kind of like the binocucom where you zoomed with the right analog stick. And people were having...
It wasn't good.
It was too hard.
Too hard.
This speaks to me of a level of trust the programmers have gained in their player base, given now we have that more difficult mode of control and overheating to deal with. on top of a meteor challenge altogether, and I could not be happier with it.
The operation is running smoothly. With access to General Sal's database and Sly successfully hired on as the wedding photographer, we are ready to make an attempt for Jing King. Given the complexity of Sal's downloaded data, I've programmed my ThiefNet computer to automatically analyze the... What the... General Sal! He's got my computer! Our whole plan is on that computer!
And while he was stealing it, he took a few flattering selfies to document it and turned those into slides and inserted those slides into the middle of this Chalk Talk arrangement for the ultimate dramatic reveal.
Alright, Luán, I'll give you this. You got gumption. This is a cool moment. We've never seen anything go wrong during one of these presentations before.
Bentley, calm down. I need you sharp. Listen up, team. This Sao character is more clever than any of us thought. As of this moment, we have one goal: steal back the ThiefNet computer. The time for subtlety is over. Bentley, break into the palace and ransack his personal computer. He might have linked it to ours. If so, that's where we'll start. The rest of the team will stand ready. No telling where this might take us.
It's a little goofy, especially the way Bentley keeps flipping slides while panicking, like, oh, here's one of me looking distressed, this is perfect. But it does establish Sao as a lot more than just some blowhard. Dude hit us where it hurts without even letting on that he saw straight through our scam. And Sly's voice taking over for Bentley's here is honestly more jarring than the rug pull of losing the laptop. It's so unprecedented, even though it feels extremely natural given Bentley's poor improvisational skills. This is probably my favorite Chalk Talk. It subverts your expectations and actually feels crucial. And it's got follow through. We actually don't have access to ThiefNet right now. No way to buy gadgets. If you really need your Fists of Flame fix, you can head over to any other episode and load it up there, but this is great. If this weren't the case, I'd definitely be calling it out, so well done.
General Sao's computer has to be around here somewhere. No need to be sneaky. Let's just get the job done.
Kinda weird that Bentley doesn't take this opportunity to talk to Jing King, maybe let her know her dad's working on getting her out of this. Easily my biggest criticism of this episode is that, despite how central she is to the plot, she is not even a little bit of a character. One might even say she's paper thin.
Okay, Sly, I found his personal computer. This should be easy.
This hack job is pretty significant. These red barriers in conjunction with the gravity wells and this big ol' cyber ninja boss fight are unique and satisfying to work around. I especially like the way the boss dares you to get out from your safe zone by pulling you into this hazard. There's a bit more to say about it, but I'll leave that until we've finished the mission at hand.
Aha! I think I found something. His diary mentions a secret passage through the prayer bell. Then a walk across the heavens. You getting this, Sly?
I'm en route to the bell right now.
Better bring along the guru. This sounds like his department. I'll need to set off the transfer sequence from here.
Got any ideas about that walk across the heavens thing?
This little spacewalk is simply delightful. The comical reactions of the guards, the way you can watch Guru pluck them from their patrol routes, there's just enough precision platforming sprinkled in that this doesn't feel mindless, and trying to take this quickly can feel especially stylish. No notes, one of the best platforming segments in the series.
Ah, the famous Sly Cooper. It seems you and your little gang were able to follow the trail I left for you. Of course, you'll be helpless without them, as you'll soon discover.
And Sao is still 2 steps ahead. This guy doesn't get enough credit, man. He's absolutely stunting on us at every turn, and I love this.
Why try to convince you when I can simply destroy you?
We'd expect someone as proud as him to gladly play dueling ideologies with us, but he's having none of it. Our skills will do the talking now.
I've heard of these types of battlegrounds before. The energy from all the fighting that has gone on before strengthens the combatants, allowing them to soar for long distances.
This is one of the coolest boss fights in the series. The gimmick of flying around, mastering angles and speed to evade his attacks and intercept him at just the right moment is that good stuff. But thematically too, oh my god?
This sacred forest has been the stage for hundreds of battles, as my ancestors crushed anyone who got in their way. And you will be no different.
a duel where the combatants are literally uplifted by the spirits of those who came before. This is a battle that actualizes the strength of a legacy, pitting these characters' values against each other every bit as much as their abilities. And check out what he says if he beats you.
The Koopa family has been beaten by Tao! Our legacy is superior!
He doesn't even take personal credit for it. As we strike him down to his second phase, we learn what we could easily have already guessed.
Stop this, Sao. Release Gene King and this fight can end.
No! Gene King is mine! Once our bloodlines cross, it shall be glorious!
There's nothing about Jing personally he could give a flying cockadoodle-doo about, but the reputation forged by her father. A simple question of bloodlines. He is a Sao, and this is what's done. He needn't interrogate the methods or the merits, only to look on the riches and the reputation that these practices won those who came before, and he can justify all of it.
But she doesn't want to marry you.
She's a woman. She doesn't know up from down.
His characterization is exquisitely well done. His value of tradition is conveyed with broad strokes like his overt sexism, all the way down to the neatest little details, like the fact that he and his guards are all members of the Chinese zodiac. And it makes him really easy to hate. It's genuinely scary to see someone this intelligent be so blinded by such outdated principles.
Oh, it gets worse, Koopa. Up until now, I've gone easy on you. But now you'll sample the ancient black arts of the family Tao!
Sly fights this battle on both fronts. Since he can't help but be the product of his own family name, there's no argument he can make against the arrogant prince's short-sighted callousness without being called a hypocrite. So instead we have to focus on evading the draconic ghosts of his lineage, the grasping hands of the past, threatening to hold us back. And once again, this fight is awesome! Calling upon speed, precision, and the agility to weave in and out of range to get in what attacks you can. As the battle wages on, the safety of the bamboo grove wanes, as the general dares you to face him on even footing. As a kid, I once tried to cut down every blade of bamboo in this grove, and became convinced it must have been regrowing behind me as I went. Turns out I was wrong, and there's just way more bamboo than I thought, and you can absolutely clear it out if you want. Now me, personally, I probably would have turned that into an achievement. Call it Sao Family Landscaper or something. But instead they went with a classic. Beat Sao without taking damage. This is definitely one of the most difficult achievements in this game, mainly because by defeat Sao, it means both phases, and that means if you get hit on phase 2, you're starting over the entire mission. And let me tell ya, I don't feel the least bit cheap for dropping a save state at the start of the gauntlet. That is ludicrous. Now, taking him down the old-fashioned way isn't too bad, but I know of at least 2 ways to cheese this guy. One is push attacks. They send him flying every time, interrupt whatever attack he's doing, and if you can get him into a corner, give him absolutely no way to respond. The second, more precise but far more entertaining, is that you can delete his entire health bar with a stealth takedown. I managed to get this to work with a push attack, but I had a much easier time with the knockout dive. There is a brief instant where Sao is considered knocked out after getting hit by these. If you get close enough in that window, you can take him straight down with the good old triangle square. There are 2 Master Thief challenges for beating these phases at half health. Kinda strange they made an achievement for doing exactly this but harder, but I can't complain about it. These fights are some of the best Sly has to offer. In fact, laptop retrieval is genuinely my favorite mission in the game. I think it's better than Lemon Rage. Amazing story content, ingenious use of Sly's platforming abilities in multiple contexts, and a delightful send-off of Bentley's computer hacking mechanic. That is the significance I was alluding to back there. That'll be the last time we take control of Bentley's little cyber tank in the main story, which feels dramatic. That gameplay mode predates playing as actual Bentley. But luckily, if you're hungry for more there is. Bentley's Hackathon is another 2-player mode. Probably the one I've seen talked about the least, mainly because it's the only one that's not competitive. Well, it does track both players' scores individually, so if you really wanted to go at it over that, you could, but I can practically guarantee that you won't because you're gonna be out here fighting for your lives. This is the most difficult challenge in this game. It could very well be the hardest thing Sucker Punch has ever made. Once you get down to the lower floors, you will be drowning in enemies and bullets. There are power-ups that can even the odds, most valuably one that increases the number of shots you fire until you die, but in all likelihood, you will die. And those deaths tend to snowball as you struggle to claw your way back towards those upgrades. When I was younger, me and my friend at the time tried to take this on and never got past the 4th level. I wasn't even sure if there was a set amount of levels, or if this mode was an arcade-style infinite score attack challenge. As such, this has always been sort of a white whale of mine. what lies beneath this onslaught? It took a sleepless week of data crunching, but me and the boys did manage to break through the ice. Level 5 introduces these pink guys that emit gravitational fields. Not bad on their own, but in groups, the pull becomes too strong to get away from, and they can absolutely spaghettify you if you get too close. After that, level 6 is the final boss, essentially a tougher variant of Sao's avatar, with more projectiles, more shields, these giant lasers locking down your options, and he's dead. Okay, I'm delighted there's a completely unique hacking boss fight down here, but after all it took to get to him, I am stunned at how easy he is. Really happy to have finally conquered that though, and the boss himself isn't the only cool detail about that mode. This minigame is unlocked from the start of the game, but if you play it after reaching Cold Alliance, Penelope replaces Sly as player 2, which makes a lot more sense. There are a ton of bonuses you can get in each level for fulfilling certain conditions, like clearing quickly, an accuracy bonus for missing less than half your shots, or one for not losing a life. You can only get each of these bonuses once per floor, but only one player needs to fill the conditions in order to earn it. With the exception of the no power-up bonus, both players need to go without for that one. The most points you can get is from the passive bonus, if one player doesn't fire a single shot. Now, thanks to the mathematical ramifications of dividing by 0, you're not allowed to get the accuracy bonus if you get this one. As usual, I'm curious as to how high this score can count. By getting no deaths, we were able to determine it was over 100,000, and with all that in mind, I won't be pursuing it, but I have calculated the theoretical maximum score. The amount of points you get for each level is kind of weird. It's like bowling for some reason. You always start with the total points you earned on the prior level. So for clearing the first board, your base score starts at 0. Then you get a 500 point clear bonus, 2,000 for no deaths, 2,000 for no power-ups, and 10,000 for one player never firing a shot. I'll go ahead and assume that if only one player is shooting with no power-ups on every floor, the only level it's even possible to get any time bonus on will be the last one. So that brings our first level's total up to 14,500, which means that after clearing level 2, our base score will start there. The no death and power-up bonuses ramp up by 1,000 every floor, and the last floor's clear bonus is 5,000 instead of 500. So our grand total, if you somehow manage to get through all this under such strict conditions, would be 379,000 points. Give or take a couple extra, since the time bonus for that final boss is even more lenient than he is. If anyone out there has the know-how, I would love to see a task of that.
You have won this battle, but the war rages on. Take your foolish computer. It won't help you. Jin King is mine!
Jin King is a person, not property. And sorry, pal, but we're ending this right now.
Beware. Beware the power of Tao.
The wedding is still on. Jin King remains Sao's prisoner. Yes, we are going to free her, but that's not enough. No, for this heist, we really need to put the screws to this guy. He's earned it. So, we're cleaning out his treasury as well.
This is my jam. The gang is just salty Sao managed to get one over on us, so now it's personal. Let's get it. Our reward for reclaiming the ThiefNet computer is the best new stock of gadgets yet. Goodness me, they are expensive though. If you haven't already, this is definitely the point of the game where you gotta start choosing which gadgets you really want, or else head out and shake down the entire population of China.
This ruby is near flawless.
We will have access to a really fast means of making money in the next episode. In the meantime, I'd say the only must-have gadget here is Feral Pounce. Thief Reflexes is slow motion mode, back for the 3rd game in a row. It is pretty entertaining, but I have no idea what it's actually intended for. Push Attack 3 is also weird. It's really hard to tell what's improved, but here we go. Any guard hit by it becomes a massive hitbox that will hit any other guard in the same postal code. It's very silly, but Feral Pounce is Sly's long jump. This was withheld until the final episode of Sly 2, so it's nice how much of the game we have left to play with this one. Of course, going back and playing old missions with it is also a hoot and a half. As one of the best examples, in Big Truck, there's a massive bottomless pit barrier surrounding the drill in the center of Ayers Rock. With a combination of Feral Pounce and Paraglide, it's possible to land outside that barrier and run around here freely. It's really odd that the scorpions out here are programmed to attack you. Not just the soldiers either, which begs the question of why we couldn't capture the blue ones, but we're way past that now. This thing also devours some of the Master Thief sprints. The Baron's Castle is easily the most extreme.
This lock looks pretty standard, but I'll need some help carrying the goods.
The Panda King is the man for the job. He's strong, good with explosives, and capable of dealing with multiple opponents. Once we get enough fireworks, he should be capable of blowing the hopping vampire crypt sky high.
Look, Bentley, I know you believe in the guy, but I don't trust him yet.
You don't have have a choice.
I like how candid Bentley's assessment of the Panda King's merits are. The idea that Murray can't really be trusted to lend his strength to the job was even set up in the opening scene.
Look, I don't mind telling you I'm putting my neck on the line here. We're all counting on you.
I will mind your neck.
Now we have to tackle a very difficult question. How do we accept the Panda King as a part of our gang? The rescue of the van was a necessary first step to building that bridge, but it was only the first step. Murray operates primarily on immediate gratification, so he's happy to judge him by his most recent deeds. Bentley's sense of objective logic clearly quells whatever personal feelings he has, but Sly's eternal fixation on the past keeps him from seeing a clear way forward. You, as the player, will probably fall somewhere in the middle. Like, yeah, a new party member who's kinda nuts with it is cool, but this guy killed a lot of people. Like, a lot of people. Where could you take this character with that? Are we going to excuse those atrocities? Redeem him? It's difficult to imagine how we could.
Hello, old friend. I am about to work alongside Sly Cooper, and I cannot carry you with me on the journey. You fool! This is your chance for revenge. He humiliated us, ruined us, made us weak.
Now, I've actually been kind of dreading this scene. I'm not a frickin' psychologist, man. I play video games for a living, and what we're presented with here is a very literal interpretation of the Panda King's inner conflict in a way that looks to me like a depiction of dissociative identity disorder, a schism which is usually brought on by a tremendous trauma, which by his account would seem to be when we toppled his empire. Those feelings of regret, humiliation, they caused him to create this altar which could bear the weight of his past failures while he walked the path of humility. This doesn't absolve him of his crimes just because only half his psyche feels responsible, but it does give us cause for empathy. Not Bentley or Sly, but us, the player. We get a modicum of control over this conversation, to navigate the inner turmoil with him, and to experience firsthand that he was never just a monster. He's a complicated man with his own values.
I have no desire to join with my weaker side. You are failure. I am the strength that used to be the once glorious Panda King. You are strong, and I am humble. But only through cooperation will we become the father Jing King needs. The yin and the yang.
Duality is a major theme of this game we have yet to touch on, and it's conveyed almost entirely through masks. The masks we have to wear to deal with our reality. Octavio's phantom mask, Penelope's Baron costume, Murray's mask, even the mask of Dark Earth all create a personal disconnect. Their wearers all bearing a new persona that makes them more powerful, more confident, more intimidating. This doesn't mean the person underneath disappears, and counterwise, throwing away the mask doesn't mean that side of yourself is gone either. Neither is the solution. We all contain multitudes. It's about existing in harmony with yourself. Using the Panda King to bring all that across is brilliant. The idea of the balance of opposites is a major aspect of Chinese culture, and it's a complicated lesson to learn. I'm amazed this is the direction they went with. Usually, in media, this sort of split personality is used to make a character seem deranged or psychotic, but that's not what DID is inherently. It's a real condition that affects real people who have experienced real pain, the kind most of us can't even comprehend, and those people deserve sympathy. So it's a pleasant surprise to see Sucker Punch handle it with this kind of introspection, when they just as easily could have had the Mirror Kings go,
"You ruined us, you're a murderer! Kill the Master Cooper but hits them with us!"
If strength were all that mattered, Sao would be an ideal son-in-law. Very well. Cooper shall live.
This room we're in is never used for anything else, and can't be explored without manipulating the game's code, but it's fun to walk around in for a minute just the same. This mirror is, of course, not a mirror, but a window to a nearly identical room. It sells the illusion just fine, but there's actually something really odd about it. The mirror room has an exterior window, but no door, and if you look at this building from the overworld map, it seems like that is how things are constructed. I mean, I'd hope this house has another room. There's such a thing as being too much of a minimalist.
Fear not, Cooper. I shall not kill you this day.
Ditto.
In control of Papa Bear now, the Panda King is almost as powerful as Carmelita. His melee attack is a bit of flame fu, which can instantly defeat any normal enemy, and he can unleash a hail of fireworks on a multitude of foes and breakables at once. He doesn't have any other abilities, not even an aerial attack, which does feel odd, but he doesn't need it. The Panda King does have his own Binocucom that you're never required to see. It's got this nice samurai shogun aesthetic. I like this. He also has his own holographic icon on buttons, and a whole slew of animations you're not likely to catch on a typical playthrough. I love his ledge grab. He looks so unamused. And check out his falling to death one. His drowning one also has a bit of extra detail and some of his fireworks floating to the surface. It occurred to me I should check out the Guru's animations too, considering we never get to control him on a map with bottomless pits. And for an unused animation, this is quite elaborate. I can also show what happens when you possess a guard that wasn't considered. You don't get to do any attacks and they just use their normal running and jumping animations. Perfectly functional though.
Such power! Looks like it was enough to wake up the undead guardians.
These vampire designs are extremely clever. The main inspiration is the Chinese... Oh shoot, I didn't look up how to say that. Welcome to this pronunciation video. The main inspiration is the Chinese Qiangshi, which are comparable to both vampires and zombies in the West, but their interpretation as a praying mantis, a creature known for both moving in a similar way, and for a variety of somewhat disturbing carnivorous habits, is a stroke of genius. For some reason, they also explode on defeat, I guess just to incentivize taking them out at range, but it also works as a reason why we couldn't just do this with Murray. As long as we're smashing graves, the words written on every stone out here say Forbidden Land, but for some reason the word land is written backwards. As far as I can find, this isn't the sort of thing you'd traditionally write on a gravestone, but maybe it's more to do with the undead elements. Check out this one-digit lock Sly's trying to crack. How does that even work? This mission gives the impression that you need to protect Sly while he's busy trying to figure these out, but the vampires only pursue you, so you can set up shop basically anywhere you want. Like this little outcropping over here, where the dudes won't even be able to reach you. Not that you really need to make this easier on yourself, this stretch of the job basically exists so we can revel in the Panda King's destructive power. Bentley's bombs certainly can't pull this off.
We're making a pretty good team. This is the last of the fireworks. Put them in the crypt and kaboom! No more hopping vampires.
Yes, this ordinance will suffice.
They're gonna be fangs everywhere! Right. I'll just head back to the safe house.
Yes, do that.
That scene has always stood out in my mind. The fact that Sly is trying, despite his own judgment, to treat him like one of the guys, only for the Panda King just to utterly shut him down, makes it really clear that this will be nothing more than a professional relationship. And yet, that bridge has officially been crossed.
The deed is done!
Okay, you know who's got the best falling animation in the game? Bentley. He also gets the Rage Bomb gadget. Same properties as the Insanity Strike, just in a ranged package. Not too much to say about this one.
Hey Bentley, are you and Murray finished fixing up the van?
I'm afraid we'll need a new power source. The old polycellular battery has lost its core.
Okay, is there one around here I can steal for you?
Penelope's aerial reconnaissance has located a candidate, but due to the delicate nature of the work, I should be the one to decouple it.
So, what? Can I help out here at all?
You see that? And this scene from earlier?
Sure you won't need my help on the inside?
The gang has doubled in size now. A typical episode is usually about 7 jobs and a heist. With 6 party members to go around, the amount of playtime each one gets is thinning significantly. And that's felt most prominently with the guy whose name is on the box.
Right. Well, have fun with your, technology.
I wouldn't blame you if you felt it was a problem, but the fact that Sly himself is feeling it in-game is significant.
Is the battery complete?
Yes, it just needs to be charged.
Seems like that might be a problem in these parts.
Well, if we took it the rail,
Hold it right there, Sly Cooper. Don't move or I'll zap you.
And let's not forget our honorary last member. I have never seen anyone playing this game so much as hesitate to open fire on Sly. Yeah, hell yeah, let's get him, Miss Fox. This is a genuine catharsis. Like, the roles aren't really reversed, but we finally get to feel what it's like to be on the other side of the Carmelita sequences that have defined this trilogy since the very beginning. Let's finally nail that blasted ringtail. The battery's got one more Chinese character on it. Kinda. It looks like a super simplified version of the symbol for electricity.
Yes! Interpol, I've captured Sly Cooper. Repeat, captured Sly Cooper. Requesting extraction unit. Over.
Nice acting, Sly. The battery is fully charged.
Man, I thought I was so frickin' clever. I was gonna do this whole thing using only kicks and be like, how did Sly charge the battery if I didn't shoot him? But nope, sucker punches ahead of me on that one. He only takes damage from the shocks. I'll tell you where they're not ahead of me though. Carmelita doesn't have damage animations for falling. She's too cool for that. But she does have death animations, and they're weirdly less finished than Penelope's. When drowning, she uses Bentley's voice line. And for falling, she drowns. She also doesn't have a burning animation. In fact, she doesn't have a burning animation so hard she just becomes immune to fire.
Now that the battery is full, it won't absorb any more of Carmelita's shots.
No, really. It was an easy capture. I don't deserve a medal. He was practically... Cooper!
Now back on familiar ground, and this is pretty much exactly what I was asking for back in Holland, an extended chase around the whole map. I personally am amused by the way the battery flies off your back if you die in this section. It even makes its own splash if you land in the water. But that's about all there is to this one.
Excellent! The van is ready to go!
You rock, Sly!
Man, that mission was cool. The Inferno Flop is Murray's most powerful all-purpose killing tool. Big or small, friend or foe, this gadget burns everything around him. Now we just have to keep an eye out for the next time Murray is called upon to actually fight. I bet it'll be incredibly soon.
Hey Murray, check it out. That strong box should be the prime router for the hardwire phone lines.
Yeah, hard phone lines.
You're the only one on the team strong enough to open it. Crack the lid, and I'll be right down to reroute the wires.
Sure, Penelope. Easy for a muscle man like myself. Just keep clear and let old Mercules work.
What kind of animal do you think Hercules was in this world? I'm thinking like a yak.
That's bad gas.
This is all my fault. Hang in there, Murray. I'm coming.
Quickly, take the foreigner to the highest peak and blast him to pieces. Be sure to leave a trail of gunpowder. All must be done in accordance with tradition, or the ancestors will be displeased.
Okay, so this mission is a surprising difficulty spike, the likes of which we haven't really dealt with since the first game. I often hear people say Penelope's RC car is their least favorite vehicle in Sly 3, and I have no doubt this mission is a huge part of why. It's not that it feels bad to control, its handling is extremely tight, and its turret auto-locks onto pretty much anything you want to shoot extremely well. Is that this is a multi-minute long gauntlet with no checkpoints. Slip up near the very end and it's all the way back to the beginning. The fuse is also pretty stressful, but like, it's absolutely supposed to be. This is a timer on Murray's life, get the lead out. Like most things of this nature, it does rubber band pretty hard, and won't be tough to catch up with if you goof a bit. If you do fall too far behind, there are a few urgent lines Bentley can say that I'd never heard before.
Penelope, you're getting too far behind the fuse! Murray doesn't have much time left, Penelope! Step on it! Hurry up, Penelope! The fuse is getting shorter by the second!
While I wait to see if the fuse can even reach Murray if I don't chase it, let me see if I can find anything about this execution method. Let's see. Quartering, torn apart by chariots, beheading, strangulation... Nope. Exploded on a mountaintop with a mile-long fuse doesn't seem like it was really a thing. That makes sense. Gunpowder's gotta cost at least enough money you wouldn't be this frivolous with it, but dang if it's not pretty metal. Okay, so that took 5.5 minutes. My complaint about this mission is this.
Use your RC car! It should be fast enough to beat the lit fuse up the mountain! It's the only tool we've got to save Murray!
It's the only tool we've got? Penelope has a helicopter, I thought? What is literally everyone else doing right now?
Hold tight, you guys. Might be close.
Yes! The Murray lives! I will never forget you, brave little RC car. We will be friends forever! You can ride in my van!
Alright, the humor in this game, especially from Murray, is great, but it's still pretty rare for it to get a full-on laugh out loud from me. But that one definitely does it.
Time to free Jing King, rob General Sal blind, and send him up the river. I call it Operation Wedding Crasher.
This episode's been kinda weird structurally. We really didn't do, like, any setup. The prologue area doesn't feel like it's a part of the main heist, so apart from finding and fixing the van, what did we do to prepare for this heist? I guess we wiped out the vampires, but every single other mission was just gathering intel. I'll admit, I tend to forget Cold Alliance is a part of this game, and this is probably why. Like, every time I see the concept art for this episode, with its teetering structures and high cliffs, I catch myself thinking, oh man, I wonder what happened to that level. Even though we basically did get everything in these pages.
I'm in green light position. Let's get a roll call.
Ready!
In position.
I'm pumped!
This roll call is a major callback, or I guess call forward to the prologue. These voice lines are all completely identical.
In position.
I'm pumped!
Except Panda King.
I too stand ready. Even if we fail, it will have been an honorable effort. Jing King is
is not forgotten.
Probably a good thing considering what's at stake for him. Also, where are these two standing right now? Is this the cave on the far end of that broken bridge? Oh no, this is that little cave where the van is parked.
Penelope and Murray are relying on your second story work to be let in. They should be in position by the front door.
You can pretty easily reach the vent we just crawled in through, but it's a very rare case of unusable blue sparkles.
Opening the door for a lady. And some say chivalry is dead.
I try to show my proper respect. You guys gonna be okay in here? The security's tight.
Yeah, we're fine. You'll need to get moving if you're going to make your rendezvous with the Panda King and the Guru.
Always a slave to the schedule. That's me.
Woohoo! A little bit of rapport between Sly and Penelope. That's what I'm here for.
What's the plan?
According to the blueprints, there's a security computer on the far side of the room under the dragon statue. I should be able to destroy it with my RC car, provided I don't trip any of the blue security beams along the way.
Blue security beams? Oh man, this is tense!
Is this a developer in-joke? Like the fact that every security measure we've ever seen has been either yellow or red, so Murray is genuinely freaked out at the introduction of a third color? This is another mission that I think draws a lot of ire for the RC car. Once again, it's a pretty long gauntlet, and one slip-up will send you all the way back to the beginning. I do remember this one taking me ages and ages as a kid. Like, I thought I'd never get it. Looking back though, I think that was just because I was impatient. Unlike the fuse, there's no time crunch here. You have no reason not to take your time and thread these needles as carefully as you please, so I don't think it's as rough as the last one.
That should do it. The laser door should be going away.
They must have another computer or something.
But there was only supposed to be one.
The fact that Penelope doesn't excel at improvisation much like Bentley is another nice character beat for her.
There's no way we'll get in.
Penelope, I've been doing this a long time. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that when the plan gets messed up, always fall back on the golden rule.
Yeah? What's that?
Break stuff.
Oh.
You're right.
He is?
If I can destroy all the security nodes before the other computer comes online, that laser door should deactivate.
Less talk and more breakery.
Okay, I love this. Really cements Murray's role on the team. His grace under pressure is absolutely necessary at this point. And you can see how well he and Penelope complement each other, and how Bentley and Sly would have come to rely on this guy for his input as well as his strength. This is also pretty cathartic. After a tense stealth section, letting loose on all these nodes and the walls between them is almost therapeutic. The time limit is also extremely generous. Just don't miss the ones sectioned off in their own cubicles, and this is no problem.
Wow, you're pretty good at breaking stuff. I can respect that.
Thanks, pal. Let's get that treasure.
Huh, it's actually gotten pretty rare that we have the option to abandon missions by leaving whatever building we're in. Like, we couldn't even leave Sao's palace when we were trying to get him to hire us. A lot of details to love in here, like around the incense bowl that someone else definitely broke, carved into like every surface is this character. Once again, like the gravestones outside, these are mirrored, which has only served to confuse my translator, but this means life or longevity. Then the rug down the center has the word dragon, though again, it's backwards. Was this on purpose? Did they not want it translated? Oh wait, I don't even gotta look this one up. I know this one. This is heaven. In Japanese, though, hold up, that can't be right. No, it's right, that's the same word in both languages. That's kinda cool.
Looks like a double lever trapdoor.
Hey, bet you didn't expect this to come back. You know what? Thinking on it again, if a door were set up to be locked unless I tried it 30 times, I definitely wouldn't figure that out. Oh, hold on, Sao's a cut above though. I've been standing here for like 20 minutes. I stopped counting after we passed 100, so I think it's safe to say you do have to press Murray's button to get inside. This is a really cool dragon statue. I love the way it's wrapped around this swirling earth sphere. And I want to talk about it a little. Is it possible that Sao's ancestors were dragons? We haven't really considered the ramifications of cross-species romance in this world, but we know it's definitely a thing. And we haven't seen any horrible hybrids wandering around, so you gotta figure the result of any given parent is just whatever the mother was. Like Pokemon. If you hack Sly in here, you can walk along the dragon's back, and even find a few other things exclusive to him, including a couple extra vent entrances around. This one over the door is even lasered off until we take the security down, though you'd never see that.
Yes! We're in!
What do you see? Is it awesome?
There's plenty of loot, but the foundation looks rotted out. Totally unstable.
Hey Murray, Sal's on his way to your position. How you coming with the treasure?
We're doing awesome! Stand aside, Penelope! Cannonball!
No, wait!
That was a thunderflop, Murray. Come on, you literally have a ball form. Kinda obvious to assume since they didn't show it, but the inside of the vault is nothing to write home about.
Always a slave to the schedule. That's me.
It's cool to get a bit of time play in this heist. That's not a device we see them break out too often. But with 3 separate teams all working different angles, I think it's pretty justified here.
Might as well do it with style.
The vases around you are used in an ancient Chinese security technique to detect subterranean thieves. Our tunneling to free Jing King will shake the palace.
I get you. If any of the vases tip over, it'll trip an alarm.
This isn't exactly true to life, but the original seismometer, or earthquake detector, was invented in China nearly 2,000 years ago, and its design is kind of vase-esque, so this gets a pass from me. I remember having a lot of trouble with this as a kid too, but that was mainly because it literally didn't occur to me to jump, and having to run around the centerpiece here does make things needlessly difficult. But you know what? I like needlessly difficult sometimes, so I've gone ahead and memorized the exact order these things shake in. Front and center, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2, 8, 1, east, north, west, 1 again, 8 again, 10 again, last stretch now, south, north, west, and don't worry, 4 o'clock, we didn't forget you, we're in. That'll teach you not to be procedurally random. It's honestly a weird choice to have this tunnel cam on screen at all, since you can't really afford to pay attention to it, but it is cool. You can see them actively make progress, and after launching the last rocket, you can even see a shaft of light from the ceiling indicating their access to Jing's cell. I was able to find where on the palace map this tunnel is, but I couldn't get it to load in properly when reached from out of bounds, so all that's over here are the rock barriers they blast through and the little fireworks device they were using to tunnel. Still neat though.
Hear that, Bentley? You're up.
Lure Carmelita with your grapple cam to the front of the palace. I left her a calling card and I'm sure she'll see it and come inside.
You with a low self-esteem! Hey you, unattractive person! Come over to this position!
Kinda don't love that Bentley just canonically roasts Carmelita here. These voice lines work in my head for the guards, but I always felt there was a respect between these two. There's gonna be another mission later where Bentley's grapple cam callouts change to suit the mission, so I wish they'd done the same here.
Cooper! Ugh. These guys have to brag even when they're running away.
Oh, Father! You have rescued me from General Sao. I was beyond hoping for such a thing.
Yes, my daughter. You are safe.
Heads up, Sly. You've got company.
Okay, Bentley. Secret Plan Alpha is underway. You know the one where I disguise myself as General Sao and steal the veiled bride during the wedding ceremony? Yeah, make sure the whole gang's there. Okay, I'm headed to the rendezvous now. Over and out.
Sly Cooper and his secret plans. Who's this veiled bride he's so interested in anyways? Well, he's not the only one who can play the disguise game. I'll give him and his gang a shotgun wedding they'll never forget.
Okay, this was the plan? Sure hope Carmelita doesn't just shoot Sly while he's feeding her this fake intel. Hope she doesn't question the presence of an entire tunnel in Jing King's cell. Alright, I'll roll with it.
Hey Murray, Sal's on his way to your position. How you coming with the treasure?
We're doing awesome! Stand aside, Penelope! Cannonball!
No, wait!
Uh-oh.
Okay, guys, parachute down the treasure to me. I'm ready.
I love how many different angles we get on this complete decimation. We just dropped that whole temple off the mountain. Woohoo!
Never have I suffered such an outrage! You shall pay!
Eat it, Sal! I broke your temple, and I'll break your face for messing with the Cooper gang!
The outrage! Stone Dragon of the Temple, I summon you from rock to flesh! Aid the family Tao in this hour of need!
Oh, okay, here we go. It's funny, I actually don't have a lot to say about this. With all the rest of the black magic Sao's been whipping up, that stone dragon coming to life feels downright precedented. And just like Giant Carmelita, the platforming sequence we get out of it feels like a worthy climax. We're dodging fire breath in this molten tongue, riding fireworks back up when he tumbles us off, you can see Penelope struggling in his claws. I really enjoy this. How's it hold up thematically?
Haha! The Tao line is master in this place. Hear me, Sly Cooper! My lineage surpasses yours in every way!
It's not about the family name, pal. It's what you do with it.
Yeah, this serves. This is basically the Sao line's guardian spirit, this incarnation of wrath and power, and it works for me that beating it is the same as defeating the arrogant prince. Obviously not in his eyes, but it's enough for the gang, and more than enough for the Panda King.
Feel like making an exit?
My hero.
I still win, Cooper. You might have stolen my treasure and thwarted my dragon, but I still have the bride. Jin King is mine!
We get a really slow, plucky rendition of the wedding march in the background here.
General Sao had his wedding right on schedule. Everything was as he'd arranged.
You got one last appearance of the word prince on Sao's groom outfit, and is that some Luán imagery on the wedding gown? Why, I do believe it is.
Except the bride came as kind of a shock.
I love the implication through all of this that the gang stuck around to watch the fireworks. You really don't outfox Bentley and get away with it.
Carmelita was a little disappointed it wasn't me she busted at the altar, although I doubt she minded taking Sao into custody. He did after all plague the streets with the undead. From what I hear, the locals were happy to see him go. We dropped off Jin King with her aunt. The Panda King insisted that she'd be safe there and that he needed to pay off his debt to the gang. I was still wary, but there was no denying that his skills would come in handy. Needless to say, we lived it up in the back streets of Shanghai. What kind of gang of thieves would we be if we passed up on recreation like that?
We end on one last callback to the China level in the first game. This is just really cute. The fact that Murray's still pulling even though the Panda King is a whole weight class above him, Bentley and Penelope are still adorable, and here we go, one last burst of translation. This says big discount. I don't think that's Chinese, I'm pretty sure that's just 59, and I did try this little pamphlet up here, but the letters are just too small, I couldn't get anything from it. But this little shot is the perfect bookend for this chapter. We started out with the boss of Fire in the Sky and ended with the very next scene. The intervening time spent taking a very thoughtful look at relationships, legacy, and perhaps most importantly, reputation. I'm willing to bet it was because Sly's reputation preceded him that Sao caught a whiff of our schemes the moment we showed up. As someone trying to operate in the shadows with the element of surprise, that kind of fame is a burden. And despite the themes of duality, there are three sides to the argument in this mission. All thieves, none quite seeing eye to eye, but it's the Panda King's experience and hindsight that wraps up this section of the story. He was a king, not by blood, but by force. He was glorious, feared worldwide, but the actions he took from that position nearly cost him the only one he cared about more, and all because that's exactly what he did to Sly. The Cooper gang coming in to prevent him from suffering the same fate, when it would have been so justified from one perspective, is extremely poignant. Sly doesn't forgive him, but he doesn't need to. Helping the Panda King win his happiness is the right decision. And it's not the last time Sly will have to make that choice. A cold alliance has been forged, and now there remains only one shadowy figure from the intro we have yet to account for. Next time, Dead Men Tell No Tales. That one's weird, you either love it or you hate it. I bet you can already guess which side I land on. But if you want to know for sure, like right now, you can come check it out on my Patreon. All my supporters can watch it as soon as this episode's on YouTube, and my upper tier patrons get the most overblown gratitude, including Amiri the Grey, who can win the National Spelling Bee with her hands tied behind her back. I mean, I guess the spelling bee is the impressive part. Raven has figured out the secret to holding open a pair of double doors for someone. Rockington once won a game of Russian roulette by just tanking 4 shots, and all the other players gave up. Grim Degree can't eat regular crab. Anytime he tries, it just turns into king crab for obvious reasons. Meryl Hainsworth has been classically and contemporaneously trained, though in what, I'm not certain. Scar Daddio can chug a can of sparkling water without burping. Or swallowing, somehow. Strangebird, who tried doing a push-up once, but they accidentally pushed the Earth in and out of orbit instead. Better stick to sit-ups. And Steve, who has finally created a hand sanitizer that kills that last pesky 0.01% of germs, and thus can begin Phase 2. More obsessive thanks to Chris Braydell, Raisin Brand, Sato DeSable, 10-Beat, RPG Grenade, Tabriz Sadiq, Kane Lowwind, Rucksack 358-2, Red Panda King, Remus, Busy Town, Zere, Eric Lee, Fundeldor, Pagagallo, Doc Crimson, and every single other one of my patrons who's gotten me this far. I also want to give another shout out to Mythology in Gaming for having my back anytime something pops up of that nature. Be sure to check out his channel if you have not already. Every single one of you is my ideal child-in-law, and I will see you in the next one.